Hello TV fam! Another day, another vlog. Nandito tayo para bigyan ng konting context. Alam naman natin lahat and nakita nyo to sa mga previous vlogs natin na currently, we are trying to sell our place para makapag-upgrade tayo to a bigger place with enough rooms and enough space para sa pamilya namin. Now, in relation doon sa initiative na yon, gusto lang natin bigyan ng konting linaw kung ano na ba talaga ang nangyayari sa real estate ng Canada. Not only particularly dito sa Vancouver, but also, let's say, in Toronto, yung mga tinatawag na karatig provinces dito sa Canada, na somewhat similar yung pinagdadaanan, no? So, doon sa mga lugar na medyo high cost of living, yung developing provinces, magkakaroon tayo ng konting comparison dyan kasi gusto kong i-share sa inyo kung bakit ba up to this point in time nagkakahirapan pa rin sa pagbenta ng property. Despite, yung mga presyo ng mga properties, particularly yung mga condo apartments, is nagbababaan na talaga. So, nakita ko yung news given by CBC, through our very close friend, Andrew Cheng. Panoorin natin tong clip na to.
So here's something I didn't think I'd see anytime soon. Check out this one-bedroom, one-bathroom apartment in downtown Toronto. The last time it was up for rent, it was going for $2,380 a month. That was in 2022. It was put back up for rent this month for $2,288 a month. Almost $100 cheaper. Here's another listing from Vancouver. One bed, one bath. In June 2023, it was renting for $25.90. Now it's $24.90. Again, $100 difference.
Rent prices are finally starting to fall after a steep and punishing climb.
Yeah, rent has been on its way down for a few months now. And here's what it looked like in Canada's major cities at the end of last year, according to data by rentals.ca.
Now, pause natin yung video clip, kasi very interesting. Mag-wonder siguro kayo, bakit ang pinag-uusapan natin dito is rental, pero ang main context ng ating experience is through selling. Magkakonekta kasi yan at makikita natin yan as we continue to watch this video. So tuloy natin tong video.
In the Vancouver area, Calgary, and in the Toronto area, which is confusing, right? Because we're in an affordability crisis in this country, especially in these cities. The cost of housing has never been higher, and yet rent, while still high, is getting cheaper.
We haven't seen rents fall at the national level like this in at least 20 years. It's a story of demand and supply.
We'll get to the demand. Let's start with the supply. In 2024, housing supply in big cities actually went up a fair bit. And if you're thinking, what are you talking about? I thought we were in a supply crisis.
Supply is extremely constrained. We're not seeing any new listing.
We have to build a lot. We have to increase supply significantly.
Now, suddenly you're saying, wait a second, there's so much supply in this particular category that the prices are going to plummet?
I'd qualify all this by saying big cities finished building a lot of one kind of supply. High-rise buildings with tons of units, both condo and purpose-built rental apartment buildings.
So, pause natin yung video. Doon sa video clip na yan, sinasabi nila, they're talking about supply and demand, particularly. Apparently, dito sa Vancouver, and mapuprove natin yan sa mga listings na nakikita natin currently, a lot of people are currently selling their apartment condo in the hopes na makapag-move sila into a townhome setting. Before, just to share yung experience natin, pagka nagtitingin kami ng listing doon sa app, which is yung Zolo, yung ginagamit namin, not sponsored by the way, or realtor.ca, makikita mo doon, pag apartment condo complexes, yung mga number of listings na meron sila would not go above 72 units. Particularly yan dito sa Richmond. Bakit ko alam? Is because inaaral ko kasi yan bago pa kami mag-list ng aming property. And apparently, from the time na nag-list kami, come I think September, October of last year, medyo nag-spike yan. Nag-spike dramatically yung mga number of listings na gustong mag-dispose ng kanilang mga property. Ang mga factors na nagko-contribute dyan is, number one, yung iba kasi, they're trying to rent out those units. Apparently, yung mga units na yon, because of the changes ng government policies sa mga short-term rental, ang daming restrictions, ang daming considerations, yung mga owners na nag-invest to buy those properties, they'd rather not deal with the headache ng pagpaparenta. Kasi most often than not, in favor kasi yung laws currently right now towards doon sa nagre-rent. Hindi man lang at least balanse but it's literally leaning towards doon sa mga taong nagrerenta. Kung halimbawa, regular investor ka lang na meron kang extra funds doing rental properties right now, here in Vancouver or even in Toronto, hindi sila landlord friendly. So, anong ginagawa nila? It's because of the laws no, na nag-restrict ng mga processes on how to, let's say, evict someone na hindi na nagbabayad ng renta, to be able to have multiple properties na para at limbawa kung hindi kumikita yung isa, meron ka isang pwedeng pagkunan, imbis na gano'n ang mangyayari is yung gobyerno kukuha ng mas madaming tax sa'yo. Tumataas yung tiers niyan, the more property na pinaparentahan mo. So, yung mga ganong considerations and factors, yung nag-contribute kung bakit ngayon ang daming property, specifically condo apartment, ang binibenta. And would you believe from 72 maximum listings on a per month basis, it jumped na ngayon to 272. Tuloy natin tong video.
In Toronto last year, more than 5,000 apartment units finally came online.
The same dynamics are in Vancouver as well, that we had a lot of construction of purpose-built rental that had begun in 2017, 2018, that's now hitting the market.
That's a lot of rentals suddenly available.
These buildings are, when they come on stream at like 300, 350, 250 units at a time. And these are owned by companies. So there is incredible pressure to fill the building up immediately.
It creates competition, that you've got these new units online and you've got the building owner who wants to rent them out.
Which all makes sense. More units brings prices down.
Isa lang yung kaninang kinuwento ko sa inyo na factor. Another factor is yung nakita nyo lang doon sa clip na yan. Wherein sinasabi nila na way back in 2017, 2018, maraming mga upcoming condos na nabenta during the pre-sale era. So, na-complete na yung mga buildings na yon at naging actual condo unit and condo spaces na sila na na-turn over na sa may mga may-ari. Knowing na nagkaroon ng changes and laws, they are now on the same boat. Imbis na iparenta nila yon, they'd rather sell it. So, yun yung nag-contribute doon sa number of listings din na nakikita namin ngayon sa market. So, yun yung existently na na-experience namin. Nag-post kami, pagka-post namin, nakita namin dumami yung listing. Nung dumami yung listing, madaming nag-reduce ng kanilang price para na sa ganoon mabili kagad yung units nila. Kahit nakakakuha tayo ng interest for viewing, wala pa rin actually nagpo-pull ng trigger to submit their respective offer. Sabi ko nga sa inyo, even in my previous vlogs, maraming tao ngayon are very cautious. Nag-iingat talaga sila kasi napakadaming bagay na walang kasiguraduhan. Tuloy natin tong video.
But where are all these buildings coming from? Well, these are projects that were started years ago when interest rates and building costs were low and when government policy encouraged these types of builds.
And even before the pandemic, we'd seen prices and rents rise in a lot of communities going back to about 2016 or so. And that created the conditions to get new buildings started. So part of that was economic conditions, and part of it was policies like the federal government making more mortgage loans available for apartment construction.
And while 2016 feels like a lifetime ago, Trump won his first election, Brexit became real. These buildings can take about 6, 7, 8 years on average from start to finish. And back then, there was a lot of demand for these types of high-rise rental builds.
Have seen in 2023 and 2024 a lot of buildings come online that were planned, almost a decade ago.
But there's another side of the supply part of this equation, and that's condos, because a ton more of those were also completed last year. 30,000 units in Toronto alone.
It was a record high. The average over the last 10 years is about 20,000 units, so it's like 10,000 units higher than what's considered to be average.
That's a lot of condos being added to the market, but what happens when you can't sell them? Well, you might rent them. You see, a lot of condos aren't bought by people actually planning to live in them. They're often investment properties. 65% of condos under 600 square feet are bought just to make money. Because for a while there, pre-sale condos were kind of a great way to turn a big profit. You'd buy a condo before construction at a decent price, and the market was appreciating so quickly that by the time that condo was finished, maybe you could sell it for double what you bought it for. Easy money. But in the last couple of years, the math on all of that has changed. Construction costs are higher. Development fees are higher. Interest rates are higher. It all went up, meaning that healthy profit that you could take right to the bank got gobbled up.
Pause natin yung video. So, mapapansin nyo, usapan natin supply and demand, how it relates ngayon sa pagpaparenta. Kung halimbawa, madaming supply at hindi mo maibenta yung unit, yung mga owners, they tend to rent it. Not everyone is trying to dispose of their property, but some, yung mga may extra na pera dyan, are still renting it. So they take the risk of having to deal with bad renters, no? So okay lang sa kanila yon. Tuloy natin yung video.
And what seemed like a great investment might actually have ended up costing you money.
You had a lot of, kind of mom and pop investors who bought pre-construction condos 7 or 8 years ago, now have taken possession of them, and they don't entirely know what to do with them.
New condo sales in the Toronto area dropped to the lowest quarterly total since the financial crisis.
Toronto's particularly bad for this. Listings are at record highs. Sales are at a 30-year low. And if you can't sell, what then?
There's nobody living in a townhouse or a house that wants to move into a 455 square foot dark rate condo, right? They never planned on living there. No one at all.
A lot of times they're saying, well, I'm going to rent this thing out, right? Because my other options aren't looking fantastic.
Bingo. Those condo units end up flooding the rental market. And now, in cities like Toronto and Vancouver, growth in unit completions is actually outpacing population growth.
That means you have more supply that could potentially be available per capita, per person. So that's been trending upwards pretty dramatically.
And here's the thing. This massive expansion of supply is only half the explanation. Canada's population grew by about 3 million people in the last 3 years. And that's a pretty central development in this whole housing crunch.
The Canadian rental market reached a record high last month.
Another record high last month.
A record high in January.
So in the GTA, the population was growing by about, 9 people for every studio apartment, right? And you can't really fit 9 people in a studio apartment, right? So that creates these tensions.
You can see, if we look at Ontario, just how much condo rent climbed in tandem, basically with the rise in population. The dip was the pandemic. But these unsustainable prices were a big part of the reason the government pulled a U-turn on its immigration policy.
Today, we're announcing that we will reduce the number of immigrants we bring in over the next 3 years, which will result in a pause in the population growth.
That backpedal on Canada's immigration policy is a big factor contributing to weakening rental demand, given newcomers do represent a large share of the renter base. The average newcomer has historically rented for the first 5 to 10 years living in Canada.
This incredible boom in population for 3 years is now going to turn into a substantial bust.
And if you want to see the effects of these policy changes playing out in real time, just look at the cap on international students that was announced at the beginning of last year.
The federal government will cap the number of student permits over the next 2 years.
According to Universities Canada, there were 45% fewer international students enrolled in colleges and universities in the fall of 2024 compared to the year before. Places like London, Ontario, and Kitchener that have high student populations are also seeing rents fall fast.
It's not a coincidence that the communities where we're seeing rents drop the fastest are communities that have a high international student population.
So, pause natin yung video dahil sa mga in-implement na changes. Yung immigration natin ngayon, binaba nila ng husto yung cap, yung parang limit, di ba? So, the less people na nagmamigrate sa Canada, the less demand for a condo apartment. Bakit kamo yun yung parang magiging default nila? Dahil ito yung parang pinaka-cost effective para magkaroon ng sarili mong lugar. Next dyan is yung mga first-time home buyers. Yung mga young generation na ngayon nag-aspire to jump into the real estate market. Yung mga tao talaga dito sa Canada, they're now leaning towards to having less and less number of kids. And that's very true. No? Dahil kung sa totoo lang, nung kami nalipat dito sa Canada, yung lifestyle na meron kami sa Pilipinas, ang laki ng pagbabago. Dito sa Canada, ikaw ang lahat. Ikaw at saka yung asawa mo or yung partner mo ang kasama mo sa lahat. Wala ka ng panahon para makapag-socialize, wala ka ng halos panahon para makapag-bonding sa partner mo. Nung nasa Pilipinas ka, meron kang mga helpers. No? You live in a comfortable house, may mga helpers ka. Pagdating mo sa bahay, merong tumutulong sa'yo sa pag-aalaga sa bata, pagluluto, lahat ng yan meron kang kasama. So you have time to spend with your loved ones. And that gives opportunity na mapalaki mo rin yung family mo. Here sa Canada, hindi ganyan. Makikita mo sa mga household, kahit na yung mga friends at kakilala mo na lang yung trend na parang ang maximum number of kids per family is 2 lang. So, more on that. Tuloy natin itong video.
And there is another factor here that's playing a role in the decrease in demand in big cities.
The cost of living in Canada is sick.
Does someone want to explain to me why Canada is so expensive, but it just doesn't even make sense?
Consider this. Nationally, the unemployment rate was 6.7% in December, up from 5% just 2 years earlier. But in Toronto and the surrounding areas, it was a lot higher, 8.4% in December. And for younger people, it was even higher than that, 14.4% across the country. And the younger you are, the more likely you are to be a renter.
And so with that in mind, it's very possible that the labor market weakening could be putting downward pressure on rental demand as few younger people move out onto their own into most likely what would be a rental.
So yes, maybe more people are staying home with their parents or splitting the bills with roommates. In British Columbia, Alberta, Ontario, and Quebec, listings for shared accommodations have shot up nearly 50% in the last year.
I can't afford a 1-bedroom by myself, I don't think. So if you need a roommate...
I'm trying to find a new roommate.
Now, cheaper rent doesn't mean cheap rent. Those units I showed you at the beginning are still well over $2,000 for 1 bedroom. But a lot of these trends we've been seeing do look like they will continue this year. More building completions and population decline to come. So if you are a renter, this year might not be a bad time to look around.
So to sum it all up, it's a complex ecosystem, ika nga, no? Ang daming factors ang nakaka-apekto sa current condition namin ngayon, wherein we are kind of stuck in a sense. Unless sobrang ibababa mo talaga yung presyo mo to the point na merong magiging interesado to buy your property. Now, on our end, hindi naman namin magawa yon at maging aggressively mapag-decidean na ganun ang gawin. Dahil nga, yung mga townhouse prices na nakikita namin is going up. Parang yung iba naman dyan is nilalaro nila yung merkado na magpo-post sila ng medyo mas mababang price ngayon, itataas nila sa susunod na linggo. More on that particular topic on the upcoming vlogs. That's a vlog topic on its own. Pero sa ngayon, gusto ko lang ma-share sa inyo kung ano ba yung nangyayari sa condo apartment real estate para mabigyan kayo ng sense of what options are available para sa inyo, no? Lalo na doon sa mga parating pa lang dito sa Canada. So, a lot of opportunities, rental opportunities, particularly sa mga darating sa Canada, a lot of rental opportunities para sa mga nagda-downsize, no? From the time na, meron kang pag-aari na bahay, gusto mo mag-downsize, for sure, yung value na makukuha mo because the prices are going down, mama-maximize mo yung buying capacity mo. So, hopefully, nakapagbigay ito ng kahit pa paunting kaalaman sa inyo with regards sa real estate natin dito sa Canada. Maraming salamat kung nakaabot ka sa parte ng video na to. Please hit that like button, and kung hindi ka pa subscriber ng ating munting channel, click that subscribe button, yung notification bell, para lagi kayong updated sa mga upcoming videos natin. Again, maraming salamat at magkita-kita tayo ulit sa susunod na vlog. Paalam!
City of mine, how I love the city of mine. It never gets me down. City of mine, how I love